Hey guys, Ben Labadie here, and I'm with Rick Nicholls, and it's election night, my man. How you feeling?
You know what? It truly is election night. It's been a long day so far. You know, seeing as how I woke up at about 3:40 in the morning, you can tell I have a digital clock. But you know, it's been very exciting. You know, I've got a great team behind me. Everybody's pulling so hard, and I'm just a real blessed guy to have such dedicated volunteers. Because without volunteers, this just won't become a reality. But we're working hard to again be able to represent this riding for the third term, and we wait with bated breath as to the results coming in shortly after 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. So I was I just did an interview a little bit before with Margaret Schleierstahl, the Liberal candidate, and then I stopped at the NDP office. They declined to do an interview. They have a candidate, Jordan McGrail. So I've been trying to get through everybody, and then you're my basically my last stop. So I tried to get everybody. So. Now, when I went to the polls this morning, I voted, and let me tell you, it was a madhouse. There's a ton of energy there. So, how are you feeling with the voting? Do you think we're going to see more turnout this time around, or less, or what are you thinking?
You know what? I really do think that we're going to have a greater turnout this go around. You know, last night my team and I, what we ended up doing was we were knocking on doors till 8:30 last night, and we were in an area just on the east side of town, northeast corner, and the response that we got from people, Ben, was just incredible. Rick, we're with you, you know, and good luck. I've had people come up to me unexpectedly. You know, I'd be getting out of my car. Hey, Rick, you know, and so on. So it's been very exciting. Again, we traveled around the riding this afternoon, doing the old coffee shop tour.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't have one negative thing come our way, and people were very, very receptive. We were just asking them, have you voted yet?
Yeah.
And if you have, fantastic. If you haven't, well then, you know, maybe this little flyer of mine might help you.
Right,
you know.
And hey guys, if you're watching this, please share it. If you got questions or comments, let us know. And don't be scared to say if you voted. I want to know if you guys have voted or haven't voted yet. I mean, we got 3 hours pretty much left in the entire thing.
That's right.
For people to get out there and find their spot. And I was talking to Nicole here, and she's going to come on after. And I know you're busy tonight. She's going to come on and kind of talk to us more about where to vote, what happens, or whatever.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be neat. One question, you know, with the expected, here's the expected turnout is a PC majority tonight. That's kind of what the predictions are from everybody, and the polls are kind of indicating. Now, have you had a majority government well in office?
I have. It was the Liberals. It was the Liberals were the ones that were in.
But one that you're working with. Like, you haven't had a majority. So how does that change some for our area?
Well, you know what?
If you get in tonight, yes.
Sure, Ben. Well, you know, and I think that if I'm fortunate enough to be reelected, and if we're fortunate enough to form a majority government, you're going to see different things happening, good things happening in our riding. This riding has been sadly neglected for, well, over 15 years since the Liberals were here, and they even had a Liberal candidate down here from 99 to 2011, and not a whole lot of good things were happening down here. But trust me, they know how passionate I am about this riding. They know how passionate I am about the people, and they'll be paying attention because, again, my goal, my objective is to, again, reach out to the people like I always do and talk to them and find out what's going on and how can I help you, you know, so help me help you.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. So it does make the communication better, really, for the area, and it kind of helps out the area more when everybody's kind of working together and you got a majority and you represent an area.
Absolutely right. You know, I think that really and truly there needs to be a better communication between the municipality and the provincial level. We have a good relationship between the provincial and the federal level.
Yeah.
But it's that lower level that it just seems to, I mean, there's some good people there, but there's some things lacking, and that just needs to improve.
Yeah. And hey guys, I see a lot of people, and when you see me approach the screen, that's just me scrolling and you know, looking at all the comments here. Hey Karen, Cheryl, Kathy, Randy, Daniel, and I'm glad to see you guys being active. You know, when Margaret was on earlier, we had a lot of people on here commenting, and now we had a when we did the Facebook Live the other day, I've never seen so many people on my Facebook actually talking and sharing that and getting to know the candidate. So this has been a pretty cool experience. Now, as we get, using social media, it's a great way to engage with the public. Would you plan or make it a plan to kind of be more engaging and do something like this the odd time so people can sit in their own home and kind of communicate with you and ask you questions and bring issues to you?
Absolutely right. I think that's the wave of the future right now. And I purposely admit that it's been a little bit slow getting there, but we're getting up to speed. And with opportunities by working with you, Ben, it's been a tremendous asset, and I really am grateful for what you've been able to do and to reach out to your community. You have a great following, and I'm very glad to be able to do this type of thing as often as possible.
Yeah.
Because people need to know what's going on at Queen's Park, and I need to know what's going on down here as well.
Hey, Rodney. Hi, Michelle. How are you guys? If you guys have any questions, don't be scared to ask. I mean, there's only 3 hours left. If you haven't voted and you still are unsure, and I see it all the time on social media today, I'm unsure, what do I do? And having an opportunity, like we did with Margaret and like we're doing right now with you, wish we would have had the other candidate, but they declined. But, it just gives everybody an opportunity.
Yeah.
So don't waste the opportunity to ask if you have any questions. That would be great. What could you offer somebody advice to maybe get youth vote out? Like maybe a message to parents to call their kids, or how do we get more young people voting?
Well, it's not just voting, it's get them voting in the right way, Ben. I think that for a lot of our children, as a parent, we always want the best for our children. And sometimes we overdo it. And I think that young people, either first-time voters or in their early 20s, I said this on your show earlier, don't be chasing shiny objects. Because you'll find that, and again, that parties make promises that they honestly have no intention of keeping.
Right.
Parties also make statements about other parties that are in fact lies.
Yeah.
And we've had to deal with some of those issues, lies directed at us. But we've dealt with them. And I think, we've got a more informed audience out here. We have a more informed voter. And, they're not fooled by those shiny objects anymore. They're not fooled by comments and statements that people make that when they really think about it, they go, you know what? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Give you an example. The NDP made a comment that a PC majority government will fire 50,000 teachers. Well, that's an absolute lie. That they would fire 30,000 nurses. That's an absolute lie. That we will close 36 hospitals. Are you kidding me? We're pouring money into healthcare for nurses, for doctors, for PSWs. We're going to build 15,000 long-term care beds, over the next 5 years, which will alleviate a lot of the issues and problems and long wait times at hospitals and that hallway healthcare. We want to end that. And if we can get that rolling, that's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. We're not about that other stuff. So again, we need to ensure, and you need to make sure that you're an informed voter, so that with less than, as Ben has pointed out, with less than 3 hours to go, don't you dare procrastinate. You get out there. Your vote matters. Every vote counts. Every vote matters.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing? And Mikey Verslicken, I know Mike. Oh, here's a good one, Rick. Should someone be able to have 3 terms in a row? What do you think? I think, well, yeah, you can just keep on, people can keep on going as long as people keep voting for you.
Oh,
you can
yeah.
keep on.
3 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms, as long as they're doing the job that you want them to do. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going for my 3rd term, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I know in the United States, a president can only have 2 terms, and then they're off again. But that's not the way it is here. And I know people up in Queen's Park right now that were, with our team, Jim Wilson and Ted Arnott were first elected in 1990. And they're still going strong, and there's such valuable assets, to our caucus. If we form government, there certainly will be a valuable asset as well, perhaps in a ministerial position.
All right. So yeah, like it's a going to be an exciting night. It's been pretty close. I did have a question. I talked to the Liberals about it, and actually it came from a post I seen, and I discussed on my Facebook Live last night with a group about people in strategic voting. Now, the voter in question was actually voting not for you, but they were a Liberal supporter, and when they go to the polls, they're going to be supporting NDP. Now, Margaret had a great answer for it about, she actually had a great story about, going with your heart and going, rather than hate, going with, something that you want. Mm-hmm. And we all know that one party works better for somebody and whatever. But what do you think about the myth of strategic voting? And should people just stick with what they want, or do they go in and vote for something else they don't want out of fear of something?
Well, you know what I think, one of the things for me, and I practice this in my whole life, is honesty. And you've got to be honest, to other people, but you also have to be true to yourself. And in being true to yourself, if you know your values, you know your principles, you know what the difference between right and wrong according to your values and your principles, then I suggest that you stay with the party that holds those values as the same as you do, rather than compromise. Because as soon as you compromise, you kind of know it and you kind of feel bad afterwards. So again, if someone is a true NDPer, don't change that. If you're a true Liberal, don't change that. And of course, if you're a true PCer, you better not change that.
We got a good question here from Randy Boris here. Hey Randy, how you doing? Hey Michelle. As a Toronto guy, how do you think Doug will do paying attention to the needs of southwestern Ontario?
Well, Randy, that's a great question, and I'll tell you something right now. Doug has made several trips down throughout southwestern Ontario, as well as northern Ontario. So he knows rural Ontario. He knows that the majority of our entire caucus, as it sits right now, is from rural Ontario. He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine, because Doug has come out and he won't mind me saying this. He says, listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and yet my plan is to surround myself with people with different skill sets than I, so that I can develop and form a very strong team. And that way, he'll get that input from rural Ontario that he needs to know. But the nice thing for Doug is that he does bring that Toronto experience with him, and he does have a huge following in Toronto. And because of that, we feel that we're going to be able to gain some big seats in 905, perhaps in 416 area code, but mostly in the 905.
Awesome. Hey, we got a really good crowd here, and I know, if you got questions, we only got Rick for a few more minutes here, then he's got to get going. But if you got questions, ask them. Share this if you like. If you're watching on replay, still ask questions. The main thing is to get out and vote tonight. And, no matter what party, you're going for, you support, it really is an important thing to get out and vote. And I see a lot of, when I went to the polls, there was a lot of seniors there voting. And, they seem dedicated. And we're always trying to get more and more people in even my age group. I'm in my 30s and the 20s. And, what do you have to say? Just a last thing to say to people, like, to get out there and vote for you, actually. Just vote for you. Promote yourself here.
Well, you know what, and I appreciate that, Ben. When you talk about seniors, seniors have had many more life experiences than the majority of the voters have today. And to give you an example, a lot of the seniors today may have had loved ones who fought in one of the world wars, World War II, or perhaps the Korean or the Afghanistan War. And what really concerns them and really woke them up was a comment made by one of the NDP candidates up in the Toronto area that says that, I don't wear poppy, I wear a peace badge, a peace pin, and that the poppies are nothing more than war glorification. They belong in a landfill. And I thought to myself, whoa, you just insulted every male and female that laid their life down so that we can have a democracy and live in a free country. You just insulted every family of those loved ones as well throughout the province of Ontario. And when Andrea Horwath was asked that question, she said, well, I stand behind my candidates. That's just one example, but they have a number of them as well. So let's pull the curtain back. Let's take a look at the real NDP. And knowing that, it's like, wow, you really want that. And you need to think long and hard about that, especially our young voters. I said earlier, don't go for shiny, just don't try to fight at shiny objects, because you'll find that there's nothing there. So again, we have less than 3 hours to vote. I've been your I've been your MPP for the last 2 terms, 7 years, vying to be your MPP for another term, another 4 years. I love this community. I'm born and raised right here in Chatham. I know the community. I know the businesses that have left. I know the companies that I'm working on trying to bring back so we can have good paying jobs. And having said that, today is D-Day. Today is, actually, it's not D-Day, it's E-Day. And having said that, Ben, you know, you need to get out and you need to vote. People lay their lives down so that we can live in a free world, in a free country, free democracy. It's your democratic right. Get out there and vote. If you don't vote for me, that's okay. But you need to get out to vote. That's my message.
I think we got, hey, Brian. I think Brian's a Trillium candidate from Lambton, Kent, Middlesex. Hey, Brian, good to see you guys in here and with us. So, yeah, that's pretty much. If anybody else has any questions while you're still here, but other than that, are you excited or what?
I'm, you know, just sitting here talking with you, Ben. I'm getting excited, you know.
And, and it looks like we got a good crowd here, which is awesome to see more people engaged in politics. And like, you know, I had an idea. You know, I'm sitting with my son. I brought my kids to the polls, as I do every time I brought them today, and it's always exciting for me. I pulled them right out of school. And I know people don't like to pull kids out of school, but I think it's really important to really show them so that even later in life they're like, well, my dad pulled me out of school to vote. I'm going to go to vote.
That's right.
Is there any kind of program that we can kind of put together in place, maybe locally, to maybe start, you know, working with you know, youth that is not of the age of voting? So my kid's 8 and 10, and is there something that we could probably work together on later if you're elected to maybe put something in place so they can learn more, so we can take field trips from Chatham, Kent, Leamington to your office and tour and learn more about that? Would that be something you'd be open to?
Oh, absolutely open. You know, there are tours galore at Queen's Park where schools bring their children to Queen's Park to take a look at Queen's Park and to, well, I was going to say watch Question Period, but you don't really watch Question Period. You experience Question Period.
Yeah.
And they wonder, really, these adults act like that? But you know, I was also a deputy speaker in the legislature, so it's my job when I'm the deputy speaker to maintain what I call law and order there. With regards to programs, I know that in the grade 5 in the school system right now, they have programs and they're introducing them to politics and to Canadian government. And I have gone and I've actually spoken to these young students, and boy, I'll tell you that some of the questions that they ask are unbelievable. I'm thinking, wow, we've got some future politicians here as well. And then, of course, in high school, there's also a course that they take as well, civics, which I have obviously gone and spoken to them and laid it out exactly how the legislature works, how a bill is prepared, and how a bill is passed, and all the various steps. So yeah, absolutely, I'm more than welcome to work with any school and all the students out there, and let's get them down to Queen's Park.
Yeah, well, you know, another interesting, my boy did ask me, because they have been talking about, they've been seeing stuff online, and they read, and they discuss in class, and he was actually asking how gas prices get lower or higher, or what is the main indicator of a gas price. And he asked me, and I don't know. I look at this stuff all the time, and I don't know the specifics really. But how do you go? Is there taxes? Is it price? What, if you can kind of just go over that, because I know you guys do want to reduce gas by 5 or 10 cents?
10 cents. 10 cents a liter. 10 cents a liter. Well, again, you know, there are taxes, and there's a lot of taxes that you pay on gas. And I don't really think that it's fair, and we want to lower that rate. That's how we're going to get you to save 10 cents a liter on gas. It's interesting. Just yesterday, I saw it at 122.9, and when I came back, it was at 122.9, and then a couple hours later, it was shot right up to about 135.9. I said, how can that happen? What's going on? Well, these are the oil companies that are messing with that, and the government won't complain because the government says, well, the more they charge at the pumps, that means the more tax money we get as well. And I'm not in favor of that. I think that we need to put more money back into the pockets, you know, of the consumer, of the constituents, not just here in Chatham, Kent, Leamington, but throughout the province. And of course, being able to do that, we will lower those excess taxes, and plus we'll scrap the carbon tax, which is a big chunk of that 10 cents that we can that we can take away, because right now it's about 4.7 cents a liter.
Yeah.
Just carbon tax alone.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks, Rick, and good luck tonight.
Thank you, Ben.
And if you haven't voted already, get out there and vote. I'm actually going to bring in Nicole, and she's going to kind of fill us in on how to vote if you haven't and what you need to vote. I know these chairs are kind of crazy, so I tripped earlier getting off these chairs. So, but yeah,
Ben,
thank you very much, man.
Thanks so much for that.
Yep.
And listening audience, again, you've got only a few hours left to get out and vote. Your vote counts. Every vote counts. Every vote matters. So thank you so much for tuning in to Ben, and hopefully your next MPP, vote Rick Nicholls. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, man.
And come on in, Nicole. All right, so if you haven't voted, Nicole, just like Morgan did when I was speaking with the Liberal candidates earlier, Morgan kind of did a run through of how you get out and vote, and I know that was a couple hours ago for the Liberals. Now we're here with you. What do you need to go vote? Do you need your ID? Do you need 2 pieces of ID? Do you need your voter card? You have to have a voter card?
If you have a voter card, the best thing to do is bring it in along with your driver's license. If you have the voter card, that means that you're on the list, which means it'll be less painful for you. Not that it is painful, really. It just takes, usually you're in and out in about 5 minutes, right? With the voter card. If you don't have a voter card, depending on how many people are at the polls, is going to depend on how long it takes, because they will need to verify your address. So you'll need to bring a piece of ID. So a driver's license. If you accompany that with like something else that has your address on it, just in case, you just want to be safe, because you don't want to have to, go to the poll and then have to head home and to grab something. So if you have a driver's license, a phone bill, a hydro bill, or something like that, bring that with you if you don't have a voter card.
Okay, and make sure, it's easy to spoil a ballot if you're out of the lines, I guess, or is that a true thing?
It is. If you spoil your ballot, is basically if you don't follow the instructions. It's quite easy. You just mark the box. Once you mark your box, you give it to the ballot coordinator. Mm-hmm. They basically feed through the machine, and the machine reads it. If you're outside of the box, the machine might not be able to read it. Thus, your vote is not valid. So you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that you're it's not rocket science, but you have to be meticulous. Just follow the instructions, mark that X, hand it back in, you're good to go.
And I'm guessing you want them to mark Rick Nicholls.
Mark Rick Nicholls, that's number 2 on the ballot. In case you can't read, there's some people that, especially, I know, my godmother, she can't read or write. And she's like, I want to vote for Rick. I want to make sure he gets in, so what am I going to do? I said, well, I wrote out the name for her. I said, she's really good with name recognition or colors or letters. So I said, memorize this, and I'm taking you to the polls tonight.
Are you allowed to ask somebody there to help you read?
If you do need assistance, if you don't have a family member per se that can do what I did in this case, you would want to call Elections Ontario so they can set it up for you. So when you show up, it's in and out. Yeah. Because they have the ability to, for instance, if you can't get out of your vehicle, they will actually come to your vehicle and give you the ballot, take the ballot, enter it for you. Up until today, unfortunately, if you can't leave your home, they would actually come and visit you at your home to take your ballot. But unfortunately today, that's no longer. But there's many ways. There's really no excuse not to vote. So
you can vote up to 9 o'clock. But what if there's a lineup there? Can they let the lineup go through, or is it just they cut it off at 9?
Well, they will. I don't believe that. I'm not sure exactly, but I can't see them, saying, hey, it's 9 o'clock, you guys got to go home, right? I'm pretty sure they'll take you in. However, you definitely want to give yourself enough time. And that's because, especially if you don't have your voter card, because not having your voter card could cause, they need a little bit more time to just verify your address. So make sure you're giving yourself enough time. If you're going in that, between that 8:30, 9 o'clock time, be a little bit cautious and yeah, I think it should be fine. But
even though if it's late and you think you're not going to make it, still try anyway.
Absolutely. Show up. 99% of success is showing up. So you've got to just get yourself there. Even if you don't know, you don't need to know much. Just bring an ID, walk in, hand it over, and check the box for Rick Nicholls.
She just went all motivational speaker on us here.
I've got a little bit of that.
Hey Nate, how you doing? Hey Rita. Rita just got back from putting an X beside Rick's name.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you guys got one
We
there.
appreciate your support.
Nathan Trudell, are you going to broadcast live from Rick's winning election party, man? Nate, I've made friends with all the candidates, and I might be able to get out there and stop by everybody's office. I've said it before. I think we've never really had such a great, stack of candidates as we do this time, and it's been really good getting to know everybody. And but I'm probably going to try to stop by everywhere. Now there is a Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey game that I'm very interested in watching tonight, and I do have a bunch of people that are just as excited as I am about the election. So we're going to try and flip back and forth into watching the election coverage, as well as watching the hockey game. Now, when can we expect to start seeing some results?
Well, fortunately, in 2018, it is now electronic as far as the vote count. So gone are the days where you have to actually physically check and keep number count. That's now fed through a machine. So it shouldn't be too long after 9 o'clock that we will know the results.
Okay. Hey Melva, how you doing? You voted? Great. If you guys have voted, say I voted or hit the like button. And it makes me feel a lot cooler when you hit that like button 100 times, because it just keeps on bubbling up.
Exactly.
And it looks really really cool. So we can expect to see almost this whole thing come together around 9:30, 10?
Yes,
Yeah?
definitely. We should know the results 100% before 10 o'clock. I know in previous years there's been some issues as far as, voter count and things not being going the way as planned, right? So this year they've made a lot of adjustments.
Hold on,
as far as...
see how many likes? That's
There we
what
go.
we
Yeah,
like.
that's
It
what we
looks
like to
great,
see.
and we got a good crowd here, so yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And if you do want to stop by, Rick's victory party will get T-bones on Sharing Crossroads. So if you want to head over there, you can even watch the results as they basically live as they're coming through. So if you don't have anything to do and you're going to watch the results anyways, head over to the winning team and watch them there.
And will they have the hockey game on at the same time?
I believe so. Don't quote me on it, but I believe so.
People get there and show up and say, "Where's the game?"
Yeah, I can't have that. So call first.
So it's going to be an exciting night for everybody, every candidate, and every victory party everybody's having. How has this experience been for you in the area and kind of campaigning and being a part of this?
It's up and down. An election, it's a roller coaster, but that's what I'm here for, right? You're not living if you're not a little bit stressed. So a little bit of stress, a little bit of, anxiety, you're alive, that's what life is about, unfortunately, right? And then you have the after effects, which in this case will be the win.
Yeah.
So that'll be, that just kind of makes everything worth it, And even if not, even if we walk away today and Rick's not the winner, which, probably won't happen, but hey, this has been a great election, and we've had actually, I think, one of the best turnouts that we've had in so many years. So people are going out to vote. People are, expressing their democratic right. That's no matter what, that's good.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been good. It's been a roller coaster, but
it's exciting stuff, and you get to meet a lot of people.
Exactly.
Right? And,
exactly.
Learn a lot more about the area. So I think we're just going to wrap that up. Again, I don't know how much time we got left, but there's only about 2.5 hours left in voting. So if you haven't voted, get out there and vote.
Now, if you don't know where to vote, what you can do is go on www.elections.on.ca, and you'll see there, it'll say, where do I go and vote? And you'll just type in your postal code, click your street address, and it'll tell you where that you need to go to vote. So if you didn't get a voter card, that's the information that you need to find out where you need to go.
All right. And this wraps it up for me. This is my last kind of interview with the candidates before this election is complete. It's going to be complete right shortly here. And I hope I've been able to bring you guys a lot of stuff and meet the candidates themselves. And this is it. So I want to thank everybody who's ever kind of watched any of these or shared any of these or hit the like button or commented or gave your opinion. I really appreciate all you guys, and I'm sure the candidates do as well. So if you're NDP, if you're Liberal, or if you're PC, get out there and vote. And, just Yeah, Green Party as well. Do we have there is a Green Party
There is
candidate.
a Green Party,
Yeah.
yes. There is an independent as well. There's quite a few names on the ballot. So get out there.
Yeah. But you want them to vote Rick. Right?
Absolutely. Honestly, if I could say, just in closing, Rick is your best choice on this ballot. That is not only my opinion, but coming from somebody who has worked alongside him, knows the heart that he has, how much he cares deeply for the riding, for the people. Rick's accessible and accountable. That's his logo, and he stands by the logo. There is not one person that can't get a meeting with Rick, that can't get on the phone with him. He doesn't turn anybody away. So know that if you marked his name on your ballot, and if we win the election, whether we do or we don't, but if we do, obviously, then he's in the position that he can help you. So don't ever be afraid to use your right to call your MPP. If you have a problem with anything in the government that you need a question with, you maybe don't know how to proceed with, or maybe you're not getting through those barriers, that's what an MPP is there for.
Yeah.
So
great. Okay. Hey, Daniel, thanks. You posted the link that she was actually mentioning.
Yes.
So if anybody is unsure, hit the link that Daniel just posted, and that will take you. And hey, Jeff, what's going on, my friend? Jeff Comiskey in the house here. So yeah, this is it's been exciting, and and like I said in my Facebook Live, to keep going. Sometimes these things keep going. Sorry, guys. But something I said is really keeping your MPP accountable and knowing that it's your duty to kind of bring your issue to them so that they can hear it. And I talked to Rick about it earlier, about being more, doing stuff like this and being engaging more so that it's easier for people to kind of engage. Because this has been easy for people to access all the candidates throughout. So hopefully we can kind of continue with doing something like that.
Absolutely.
So
that's
Rita.
That's the great part about 2018 and social media, right? It puts you in places that you couldn't be otherwise. In the sense of right now I'm wherever you are, right? You're looking at me on your screen, and that's what's great for in politics, because politicians, they are elected by you, they are held accountable by you. So even sending Rick a Facebook message, giving him a call, sending him an email, there is nobody that is left. Everybody gets a response. Everybody we work for you. So.
All right. Hey, Doug, thanks. Oh, thanks. I got a good job. Perfect. Okay, so we're wrapping up. I'm going to hit this finish button. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
And, hey, get out and vote.
Stick with Rick.
Thank you, everybody, and share this. And I will see you again after the election. We'll do a post-election something. So get out there, enjoy it, have fun. Okay, guys? I'm going to hit